So let's talk about some GPU news. One of the major things that I saw recently, remember that little cable connector that seemed to be melting RTX 4090s? Looks like they may be actually updating it. Instead of the usual 12-volt high power cable, they may be doing something completely new that supposedly would have much better standards of safety. Now, when this first happened with the 4090, NVIDIA kind of blamed it on users not plugging it in all the way. But then, after a while of not hearing too much, it seems like lately a lot of people have still had this issue. I was browsing Reddit and I took a look at the Cable Mod, Reddit group, where a lot of these adapters that they sold, I have one myself, have not had an issue. Seems like a lot of those GPUs were facing issues. A lot of people posted, more than you would expect maybe for a very small issue. So obviously there's some issue with this particular adapter. In many cases that there were, damages and failures on GPUs, seems like the users, according to them, plugged it in correctly all the way. So there's obviously some big potential issue here that while now it seems only the 4090, who knows if it could spread to other GPUs in the future as things get more powerful, new models are released. So it's good that they're working on a new standard. Hopefully it'll be something that solves this issue and we never hear about these problems again, because it's certainly frustrating, especially on a very high-end GPU. And then secondly, speaking of RTX 4090s, seems like the sales of these GPUs are certainly down much more than people expected. You may be thinking, well, it's the most expensive GPU, of course sales are down. But in the beginning, this is the GPU that actually seemed to sell the most. They were sold out for months and months, while the other ones like the 4080 and even the newest 4060, 4060 Ti, nobody really seems to want to buy. So I guess finally the economy has caught up with the 4090 and everybody that probably wanted one has one by now. I even saw Best Buy do a drop on the Founders Edition recently, which certainly is interesting because that was one of the rarer ones, or at least more difficult to find than other retail models from like the third-party AIBs. So these are the basic things that revolve around the high-end GPUs. In sort of the more realistic scenario, the 4060 came out. I went out to Micro Center to get one to test. The 4060 is the latest GPU to come out from NVIDIA, and while it starts at $299, still didn't sell very well at all. When I went to Micro Center to pick mine up in order to test, they said only one other person bought one that day. It was already like 11:30 in the morning, showing you that there really is limited demand. The 4090, over 150 people got it day one, just so you have an idea. And that GPU costs what, like 5 times or more than the RTX 4060. So that shows you the amount of interest that's really out there. And while the GPU itself isn't terrible, the problem is it's kind of stagnant compared to last generation. It's really not all that much better than a 3060 or the 3060 Ti. You would have expected it to be considerably better. And when you take stuff like DLSS 3 out of the equation, maybe the more, the power efficiency, which certainly is there and it's definitely a positive, it's not performing anywhere near enough what $299 would really warrant. That GPU probably would be a good 4050 if we're being honest, but I think NVIDIA shifted the product stack of every single GPU aside from the 4090. We have proof of this when they tried to sell us a 4080 12GB and then had to change into the 4070 Ti. Nobody really wanted to buy that GPU, especially not being a 4080 at the price that it was going to come out at. And then the same holds true for basically everything else that's come out since. Product stack has completely changed, and now we're in a weird place with GPUs where nothing that comes out is really very attractive for gamers because it all seems overpriced for the limited hardware that you're getting, especially the VRAM. That's been a huge issue. Of course, NVIDIA did put more L2 cache in these, GPUs like the 4060, but it doesn't really help in every scenario, especially not to mitigate the problems with the low VRAM and the very narrow memory bit bus like you find on the 4060, 4060 Ti, etc. So hopefully things improve, but we're probably going to have to wait a few years until next generation. The only thing we can expect now is maybe for prices to go down on discounts with people simply just not buying GPUs. Alright guys, so remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.